Howdy gang, doing a quick update here. I want to show you something on the screen. Sorry it's in portrait mode here, but recording my screen here on my phone doesn't really work good in landscape. But listen, I want you to hear something here about this contact tracing in California, and it's between
capacity that
Gavin Newsom and Bill Clinton. So check this out.
predates COVID-19. It goes back to SARS, measles, TB, etc. Tracking and tracing capacity that exists in the county levels primarily, and increasing capacity at the state level. So what we're doing is we're building off that existing infrastructure and using the tools of technology to overlay. In addition to that, we're using AmeriCorps specifically. And thank you as a champion for AmeriCorps for decades. We've been able to take advantage of that workforce. Obviously, our conservation corps, what we have now is called Cal Volunteers in the spirit of Sarge Shriver. We are asking people, thousands of folks, to be part of this new corps, to get trained and to help us with the tracing, because you're absolutely right.
All right, so what he's talking about is getting thousands of people to become part of this whole contact tracing corps, where these people will go out and they're going to come knocking on your door if you've been infected with COVID-19 or whatever, and they're going to remove you from your home, and then they're going to interrogate you and they're going to find out who all your contacts are, and then they're going to go interrogate them. So just listen closely to how they word this thing now.
The predicate for getting back to some semblance of normalcy is our ability to identify individuals through testing, to be able to trace their contacts, to isolate individuals that have either been exposed, or quarantine people that are tested positive.
Okay, so they're going to isolate people who've been exposed, not necessarily even testing positive. And then also they're going to quarantine people and isolate them if they have tested positive. Now, I could have sworn that, like, of all the people that test positive, 80 to 90% of them will never actually show symptoms or never have a problem. It's going to be the top 10 to 20% that require some sort of clinic visit or hospitalization. I think the top 10% at most hospitalization. So why are they bothering with the other 80% that are of no effect? You know, why are they trying to go and shake them down? It's pretty crazy.
That's just going to require an army of folks and the capacity of consideration from individuals to allow for their privacy to be impacted by that kind of acuity of attention based upon...
Sorry, I'm not going to allow it. You're not coming into my house to do this. Sorry, no way.
Where they've been and who they talked to.
Well, let me say, for the Americans listening to this, I think that the expansion of AmeriCorps is a great idea. And those who are university students will know that if you do a year or two in AmeriCorps, you acquire...
All right, we don't need to listen to Slick Willie doing his AmeriCorps pitch. All right, so you kind of heard what was going on there. So check this out. I'm going to go into... I want you to listen to this one too. Now, this is Ventura County. They're actually starting this program now to go do door-to-door contact tracing. So just check out how they word this one.
We are beginning a program today, and it's a pilot program which will certainly grow into something larger and larger, and that is a community contact tracing program. We've done contact tracing all along. That a contact is a person who's been exposed to someone that we document to have the COVID infection. When we find...
Okay, so a contact who is targeted by this program is not just someone who's infected, but someone who has been known to have come in contact with somebody who was infected, right? Continue on.
Someone who has a COVID infection, those people are immediately isolated. But we also work with them to figure out who their contacts were.
All right, so anyone who's been infected, they are immediately isolated, and then they work with you. Sounds pretty friendly. They work with you to find out who all your contacts are. Sounds more like an interrogation, don't you think?
Luckily, because you have been doing such a great job of cooperating and staying indoors, and staying isolated, it used to be there were 10 contacts, at least, for every patient that we would find. Now, it looks like there are probably only 2 or 3 or 4 contacts, not surprisingly, because most people have been staying away from others. And that's good news. But the purpose of this program is to bring on people. We're going to start with 10 people. We may bring on up to 50.
10 people they're going to start with. They're talking about 10 to 20,000 people that are going to be part of this program. So starting out with 10 is not going to last very long. Listen to what he says, 50 or 100.
Or even more as the program grows. And
here, let me back this up.
Staying away from others. And that's good news. But the purpose of this program is to bring on people. We're going to start with 10 people. We may bring on up to 50 or even more as the program grows and as we see the needs for it. As we do more testing, we will find more and more people who have COVID-19. And again, we'll isolate every one of them, and we will find every one of their contacts, and we will make sure that they stay quarantined, and we'll check in with them every day. In other words, what this program means is that we're going to do a more complete job, and we're going to do a more meticulous job.
All right, so they're going to find everyone who's been infected by COVID-19. They will find you, and they will find your contacts, and they will quarantine you. That's what the guy is saying. And you haven't heard anything yet. Here, listen on.
Making it less and less possible for others in the county to run into someone with COVID-19 infection. It's not just our county that's bringing more people on. There are going to be thousands of people hired who will be these contact investigators throughout the state. And this is occurring in many, many other states as well, perhaps all of the states in our country. We will be giving intensive training to these people, training not only for identifying and finding contacts, but also in terms of how to be sensitive about doing it. We also
So they're going to train you how to be sensitive so you don't really sound like you're part of the Gestapo, and you're interrogating people, They don't want you, like, showing up there, whipping out a big light and sticking it in their face and saying, "Where were you last night? Who were you with?"
realize that as we find more contacts, some of the people we find are going to have trouble being isolated. For instance, if they live in a home where there's only one bathroom and there are 3 or 4 other people living there and those people don't have COVID infection, we're not going to be able to keep the person in that home.
Okay, you heard it right there. If you are living in a home and you're infected and you have 1 bathroom and 3 people that live with you and they aren't infected, they're not going to allow you to stay in that home. They're going to take you out of your own home. Tell me, doesn't this sound a little unconstitutional? Doesn't this sound like a little Nazi? It just, something wrong with this whole picture here. This is in our country. Can you believe this is even going on right now? Has anyone ever seen anything quite like this? It's total BS.
Every person who we're isolating, for instance, needs to have their own bathroom. And so we'll be moving people like this into other kinds of housing that we have available.
Huh.
The
They're going to move you into other kinds of housing. You know, and I always really kind of didn't give much credence or credit to the whole FEMA camp thing or whatever, but really now, after hearing people like this, I'm starting to reconsider that kind of stuff. Like, what kind of housing are you going to move people into? I mean, where's that coming from? Housing like that. Are you putting up new housing for these? Are they going to be tent cities? Or are you going to actually ship people off in a train up to some repurposed military camp? What do you got in mind there, dude?
also have other needs, perhaps food, whatever it's going to be. The county will be there to back them up and to support them.
All right, there you have it. So they're going to basically enter your home if you've been tested or suspected of being tested, or you came in contact with someone who was tested and shown positive for COVID-19. Not to mention at all that maybe the majority of the population here is going to actually ultimately have it. And just like they would the flu or any other bug that comes along, right? But for some reason, this one here is really being played up. And even though the top maybe 10% have to be hospitalized, for some reason they think everybody needs to be quarantined. I'm telling you, the amount of social distancing that we are doing right now and quarantining is preventing us from building immunity. Now, you have heard other doctors say this too, and I don't get. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. I don't know if I can make this thing bigger. Anyway, other doctors have been saying it all along too, so it's just how do you build herd immunity when you keep everybody isolated? Unless that's the whole game plan anyway. The whole end game is to keep them isolated so that they don't build herd immunity, and that so there is a second wave that comes and it will infect everybody, and we can really shut down and drive the final nail into our economy, and then we can bring a vaccine out for everybody because no one's immune. Telling you people, this is all BS, and at some point people there's gonna have to be a line in the sand that we do not allow someone to cross, and that's it. And I don't know what that is, and I don't know who's giving the marching orders or what. I think it's very important right now that people should probably reach out to their sheriffs, the county sheriff, and find out if they are a constitutional sheriff, if they are going to protect you from home invasion by people like this. Because this is total BS, and I'm not going to take it. You better not show up at my house, man. Of course, I'm not in Ventura County. I do know people that are in Southern California, though. Better watch out. Better watch out. Lock your doors. Anyway, put a do not disturb sign out there. All right, people, I think that's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll talk to you later, okay? Leave the comments, share the video. Listen, go check out this Chuck Middleton. I got this video actually turned over to me from Nicodemus Kane. Go check out his channel and subscribe to him, and tell him I sent you. All right? Unspoken Truth. All right, we'll talk to you later. God bless. See ya. Bye.